All rise.
This is Deeper Than Money. Talk to me. I want viewers watching my show to believe in themselves.
Judge Hatchett is compelling.
If he is not going to honor you, he needs to be gone.
Compassionate.
I don't want you to give up on your dreams. I don't. And I want to figure out how we get this straight.
She's powerful.
If I were in this situation, I would have put you out too.
And she's on the bench.
I feel like I'm being judged here.
That's what I do.
You're watching The Verdict with Judge Hatchett. Fiona Egan is suing Rachel Egan in the amount of $2,500. Ms. Egan claims her twin sister moved out and says it took months to find someone else to move in after her sister criticized her to potential roommates.
You all are not only sisters, you're twin sisters. But you're suing your twin sister for $2,500. You all were roommates, and now you all basically have had this big falling out. Whew. Why $2,500?
I'm suing my sister, Rachel, for the money that she owes me because we used to be roommates and then my sister moved out. That's fine, but she badmouthed me to all the potential roommates I could find. And so it took me 2 months to find a roommate. And I couldn't pay that rent. So I'm out $2,500 and I want my sister to pay it.
But there's a backstory to this. There's always a backstory. I mean, I've been doing this for a long time. There's always a backstory. So you all lived together for the first year. And then what happened? What happened? You want to tell me, Rachel, what happened?
Your Honor, my sister was difficult to live with for a number of reasons.
Why? Why was she so difficult to live with?
I started dating someone soon after I moved in. His name's Jake, and now we're moving in together. So.
I told you there was a backstory. Didn't I tell you? I know how this works. There is always a backstory. So you all were roommates, and how long had you all been roommates before Jake comes up on the scene?
Not long, maybe a month.
So now, really, Jake is the third roommate. Let's be honest.
That's very true, actually.
What?
He was over all the time, and it was ridiculous because he's not a good guy.
He's not a good guy.
I was very, very against.
Oh, this gets to be more complicated. It wasn't just the boyfriend who was there all of the time. Now you're telling me that he wasn't a good guy.
No.
What was wrong with him?
He was really creepy, honestly.
Creepy? How so?
Okay, so I was at this party once, and he just comes up from behind me and just like puts his arm around me, and he just started like kissing me. And
Your
I was just
Honor,
like,
did he think
what?
maybe he thought that you were Rachel? No?
No, because
No?
I have short hair. I've always had short hair. She always has long hair. So
Oh, okay. So there was no mistaken identity. He couldn't say, "Oh my God, I thought you were Rachel."
no, I think he tried to spin it that way, but I'm pretty sure.
Your Honor.
Well, you all do. I mean, you're twin sisters, but your hairstyles are very different. So, it's not like he could get him confused, all right? So then what happened? He comes and you think he's creepy and he does this, and what happens?
I confronted him right there. I was saying, I'm not comfortable with that. You're dating my sister. Please just back off. And he was like, oh, yeah, no. I thought you were her. But then he's over at her house all the time in like his underwear. He's just like on the couch. And it's so weird. And I didn't like him being at our house. And I think that's fair. And I would tell my sister about that. And she would always decide with him.
Your Honor, that is not what happened. Okay.
But now, is he paying rent?
No, he's not paying rent.
Is he paying any utilities? Is he contributing? It sounds like he became the third roommate.
He cooks us all dinner all the time.
Yeah, like once
that's
a
not
month.
the question I asked you. Was he there often?
A few days a week, maybe.
A few days, does that mean 4, 5?
3, let's say
3?
At least.
I was at his place a lot. I was trying to balance it out because I knew that, my sister and I are sharing a place. It's not huge. I wanted to be a respectful roommate. And I would talk to my sister a lot about it. I would ask her if everything was okay, if it was okay for him to come over. And she would always say it was fine.
Oh, I doubt that.
Thank you.
I doubt that. I doubt that She said, oh, yeah, great, come on. Like him, Jake, come on and move in. I mean, I'm exaggerating, but I doubt that she was saying, fine, great. Love him being here.
After the
Love seeing the underwear on the sofa.
Okay, I have to say, he did not kiss you at the party, okay? I asked him about it because she talked to me about it soon after it happened, and I was concerned. I want to make sure I'm dating someone who's
I
trustworthy.
wanted to get back to that. So you all talked about it, and what was your reaction?
He said that he had walked up to her from behind, and he thought that she was me. And I honestly, we're identical twins. Like, I believe him.
Coming up on The Verdict with Judge Hatchett.
I would hear her on the phone in her room, like on the phone with our mom, just crying about something. And I wasn't sure what she was crying about. But when I would ask her about it, she just wouldn't say anything.
If you'll be in the Los Angeles area and want to bring your case to court, call 1-888-552-6878. You're watching The Verdict with Judge Hatchett. The Verdict with Judge Hatchett is back with the case of Fiona Egan, who is suing her twin sister, Rachel Egan, for unpaid rent.
And what happens with that particular first year lease?
So every time he's over, and even when he's not over, my twin sister, and we grew up together, we shared a room as kids. It was always good. So I actually was really hopeful that we would be good roommates to each other. And we were both new to LA. We just thought it was gonna work out. And then the moment that I started dating Jake, then it just got weird. Like, my sister kept being kind of passive aggressive to me. Just
Like how? Tell me how.
She would just kind of blow up at little things, and I would ask her if anything was wrong, and then she wouldn't say anything. But then I would hear her on the phone in her room, like on the phone with our mom, just crying about something. And I wasn't sure what she was crying about. But when I would ask her about it, she just wouldn't say anything. She would just say, it's fine, I don't want to talk about it.
So wait a minute. So when your sister would ask you if you were okay, you wouldn't talk to her about it? You wouldn't really articulate what was going on?
I would try, but she wasn't really asking. She was like, oh, hey, you okay? Okay, I'm gonna go hang out with Jake now. How was I supposed to get any word in?
Well, but then why not say, hey, look, Rachel, we need to sit down and talk. This is my apartment too. I'm really irritated. Jake is getting on my last nerve. I mean, why not be more aggressive in having a real conversation? This is not a stranger. This is not a roommate that you found on social media. This is your sister, right? You all grew up together. You shared a room together. Come on, work with me on this.
Yes, but it's been 6 months, and she has not given me the money that she owes me. I don't know how to talk to her anymore.
I mean, well, I'm going to get to the money. I'm talking about while you all were roommates. She says that you would go into your room and that you would call your mother and that you would cry. What was that about?
Well, we just moved to LA from Massachusetts. Like, we both didn't know anybody here. We were just...
Except Jake.
Except Jake.
Except Jake.
Great. And it was really hard. It was really hard to adjust. And so it was tough to not be able to talk to her about it, because she's like pretending that everything's fine. Really, she's just like pretending it's all fine when she's hanging out with Jake.
Everything is fine with me. I'm having a really good time in my new city. I like my life. I have a good community. And my sister, I think, is just struggling. But I would try to talk to her about it.
Tell me, what do you mean she was struggling? There's something going on here that I'm not getting. What's going on?
I think she had a hard time finding a job when she moved here, and she's had a hard time making friends. She can't go out much because she doesn't have much money to spend, and so she's just kind of stuck home all the time.
Were you struggling? Let me just be candid. Were you depressed?
I mean, it was really hard. Yeah, it was tough for the first few months. Yeah. Totally.
All right. Were you isolated? Did you have any other friends outside of your sister?
We didn't know anybody here, so I was really happy to connect with this Massachusetts Women in LA Facebook group, because I was like, this is gonna be great, gonna find community.
Right.
And then my sister goes and badmouths me in front of someone from that group, and she posts this thing about me saying I'm a horrible person. Nobody should want to live with me.
Oh, so we're going to get down to the reason we're really here today.
Yeah.
You're suing her for $2,500. You decided at the end of the first year that you all were living together that you were no longer going to be her roommate, right? That you were going to go and live with Jake. So now you've got to find a roommate, right? That's why you're in here suing, because you were left without somebody to help pay the rent. right?
Right.
Okay, so that we're all clear. Now, you're in the process of trying to find a roommate, and what happened?
So I found someone great, Renee. And we met, it was great. She was really excited to move in. She loved the apartment. And she applies, she's great credit, everything's going great.
Okay.
And then I bring her up to the apartment, and Jake is there. And I was like, what are you doing here? And then my sister comes in, and she's yelling at me, saying, why are you talking to him that way? You're a horrible person. Oh my God, I can't believe you're doing this. And then,
Well, why was Jake even there?
great
So
question.
He gave me a ride. I was going back to get some stuff I'd left in the bathroom, just like shampoo. And I was just going back to get some stuff, and I was in the bathroom, and then my sister comes back up. He was waiting in the living room, just sitting on the couch. My sister comes back up, I guess with this new person that she was gonna
And she
try to get
wasn't
to move in.
expecting you or Jake to be there. I mean, let's be honest.
No, it's true.
So then you all get into it in front of the potential new roommate. And that roommate, let me guess, decides that she doesn't want to be your roommate.
Yeah, because of all these lies my sister was saying.
All right, let's get to the $2,500. So you're saying that for 2 months, you couldn't find a roommate. I hear about Renee. Were there other people that you were going to have as potential roommates that you're saying that she sabotaged?
Yeah, everyone on that Facebook group. I would reach out to people who would post and say, like, looking for a place. I'd say, oh, this is great. And then they'd either wouldn't message me back, or they'd say, oh, sorry, I heard about this
All right,
place.
so Rachel, let's get to the bottom line because I need to rule on this case. Were you posting negative things on social media to the group that she's trying to use to get a new roommate?
I was not, Your Honor. What happened was when this new person who was maybe going to move in came upstairs, came into the living room, I had heard how my sister was talking to Jake, and she was just yelling at him just for being there. And I thought that was super unfair. So I walk in and I just say, stop yelling at him. And it had been enough. You know, like I had moved out because I had been dealing with this for months. And I moved out and I just thought that it was going to be behind me. And then just seeing her yell at him, it was just really frustrating.
You weren't even there. I thought he was in the apartment alone, which would really be the creepiest thing I could possibly think of.
Okay.
Coming up,
Rachel, were you mad? I'm just going to ask you straight up. Were you mad at her? And did you go out of your way to badmouth her to potential roommates?
you're watching The Verdict with Judge Hatchett. The Verdict with Judge Hatchett is back with the case of Fiona Egan, who is suing her twin sister, Rachel Egan, for unpaid rent.
You moved to LA together, and now you all aren't even speaking. I mean, really, is this worth it? Is this worth this kind of, not just a friendship, but losing a relationship with a sister? I mean, Rachel, were you mad? I'm just going to ask you straight up. Were you mad at her? And did you go out of your way to badmouth her to potential roommates?
No. What happened was when Renee came up and asked me, she saw us fighting, and she asked me, what was it like to live with her? And I just said,
You said it was hell.
Yeah, I said it was terrible.
You said it was hell.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest. You said it was hell. I don't like her. She's mean. She's messy. You said all that. Partly because you were angry about the way she had treated Jake. I mean, let's be honest, right?
That's right.
I mean, is she really all those things, or are you mad at her because of the way she treated Jake?
I'm mad at her because of how she treated Jake, and also I feel like we're just barely sisters anymore, and I'm upset about it.
You know, the Jakes will come and go. Ooh, let me get comfortable here. The Jakes will come and go. I know what I'm talking about. Jakes will come and go. You all have any other siblings? Probably not. It's just probably the two of you, right? You all need to fix this.
Coming up,
I wouldn't want to come in if my roommate's boyfriend's underwear was on the sofa.
you're watching The Verdict with Judge Hatchett. The Verdict with Judge Hatchett is back with the case of Fiona Egan, who is suing her twin sister, Rachel Egan, for unpaid rent.
I think that you were not assertive enough in talking to your sister. I realized that you were lonely. I realized that this was a drastic change to move from Massachusetts all the way across country to Los Angeles. But I think that you could have handled this differently with your sister. I think that you decided that you were mad at your sister because of the way she treated Jake, but Jake was there all the time. I wouldn't want to come in if my roommate's boyfriend's underwear was on the sofa and not, I wouldn't want to see that. You know, I really wouldn't. And then she felt betrayed. I'm gonna just tell you, I know how this works. She felt betrayed because then at the end of the lease, she said, wait. I'm gonna go live with Jake. And then she has trouble finding a roommate because she feels like you've sabotaged her on this situation. What really should have happened, really what should have happened, is that you should have, how much notice did you give her? Let me back up. How much notice did you give her that you were gonna not continue on the new lease?
2 months.
2 months. In those 2 months, what you should have done is that you should have said, maybe I need to get an apartment, smaller apartment, that I can afford, right? But you then decided to go into this new lease without knowing how it's going to be paid for or if you had a roommate. Do I think that she could have handled this differently? Yes. Do I think that this is all going to really just fall apart and you all are not going to speak to each other? That is tragic. It is tragic. I want you both to hear me. It is tragic. You hear me? Tragic.
Judge Hatchett's verdict when we return. You're watching The Verdict with Judge Hatchett.
So, I think you all both have some responsibility on this. I'm going to split it. I'm going to enter judgment for the plaintiff for $1,250. Does that math work out?
Sounds good.
Right? But, you know, I think you all have got to sit down and try to work this out. And I think that the relationship with your sister is more important that you're going to find out in the long run, because Jake may not be there for the long run. I'm just saying. I mean, maybe you all will get married and have 5 children and be married for 50 years. Maybe that will happen. I don't know. But what I do know is that you only have one sister. But I do need a commitment that when you all leave here, that there will be some kind of effort on both your parts to spend some time without Jake being there. All right? So I am going to split it so that you get judgment for $1,250. I think you both bear some responsibility in this situation. So that is the judgment of the court, so ordered, and we will stand adjourned. I wish you both well.
Judge Hatchett has ruled in favor of the plaintiff. The defendant has been ordered to pay $1,250.
Any final words for each other?
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry I haven't reached out in 6 months.
This has been a production of Allen Media Group.